Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Jade Dynasty based on novel. So let's start. The nine-tailed celestial fox's eyebrow arched, expressing her slight surprise, nodded and said, "Why? So you also know about this black shaman tribe?" This black shaman tribe is mysterious and unfathomable. The black shaman master that offers sacrifices to the deities in the tribe is especially proficient in this type of ghost, spirits and soul skills. As long as you can find the black shaman master, then your friend most likely can be saved. Ghost Lee did not speak. After a long while, unable to conceal the disappointment on his face, quietly said, "To tell you the truth, the information about this black shaman tribe having the possibility of saving my friend, I already heard it 10 years ago. But in the past 10 years, I have come to this southern border countless of times and even explored for a long time deep inside that inhospitable mountains and rivers. But no matter how carefully I searched, I cannot find even a single information about the black shaman tribe. Everyone told me that long before 1,000 years ago, that black shaman tribe had already become extinct 1,000 years ago." The nine-tailed celestial fox frowned while listening and now suddenly raised her voice, interrupting Ghost Lee. "That's right, what is it?" Ghost Lee looked up at her. That gentle lovely girl frowned slightly, as if pondering about something, her soft long hair wrapped around her shoulder. When the night breeze blew over, strands danced beside her face. After a long while, she raised her head and said, "Being incarcerated for so long, my head is not that agile anymore. I needed to think before I can recall. When I met that black shaman tribe person, it was 200 years before I was caught by Fenseong Valley. So to say, at least around 500 years ago, the black shaman tribe people still exist." Ghost Lee stared intently at her. The expression on his face changed greatly. The nine-tailed celestial fox saw it and suddenly said, all right, considering the fact that you are my benefactor, I will help you in this. Tomorrow, I will bring you to the southern border to find and see if there is still any traces of the black shaman tribe in the place where Elle last met that fellow." Ghost Lee inhaled deeply, was quiet for a while, bowed slightly at her, said, "Many thanks, Senior. I'm beyond grateful. If my friend can be saved, no matter what assignment Senior has in the future, just go ahead and order me will do." The nine-tailed celestial fox looked at the man in front of her, saw his unswerving determination. A faint warmth still remained in his eyes, wondered who was it that he thought of. With her thoughts, she for some reason, her heart felt soft. The men in the mortal world, there would always be heartless ones, there would also be devoted ones. The late night, deserted, only at an unknown area deep inside the forest, the cries of the wild insects reverberated in the looming overcast, as if bending over to narrate. A slight breeze blew, the branches in the forest swayed, making rustling sounds. The nine-tailed celestial fox gently placed Xiao Hui on the ground, stood in the forest, quietly standing. After a long while, she closed her eyes, slightly turning her head, like she was listening for something and also as if she was using soul and body to feel the taste of freedom in this world. The footstep sounds behind her suddenly stopped. Ghost Lee's voice was heard saying, "The night is late, why hasn't Senior gone to bed?" The nine celestial fox did not open her eyes and did not even turn around, only unhurriedly said, "What about you? Why are you not asleep?" Ghost Lee was quiet for a while, said, "I can't sleep." The nine-tailed celestial fox turned around, looked at him, smiled and said, feeling some nervousness. Ghost Lee did not speak. The once almost despair thoughts suddenly renewed with hope. He could not feel excited by it and thus insomnia. The nine-tailed celestial fox smiled sweetly, full of seductiveness. Even the night around her also seemed to turn tender. She was heard saying, "There is one thing I would like to tell you." Ghost Lee quickly said, "Senior, please say." The nine-tailed celestial fox glared at him, said, "That can you not call me Senior anymore? There is nothing bad about you but just that don't you know if you keep calling a woman Senior here and Senior there, it will make that person turn old. It is very rude you know." Ghost Lee was speechless. So no matter whether at 18, 28, or 2,800 years old, as long as it was a woman, definitely would fear aging. "Then, how shall I address you?" Ghost Lee carefully asked. "Xiao Bai," Ghost Lee awkwardly called out once, his expression very peculiar. The nine-tailed fox seemed not to mind at all, instead swept her gaze around and saw the monkey Xiao Hui crouching on the ground looking around, and then thought of something. She asked Ghost Lee, "Oh right. Then what is the name of this monkey? You can't be calling him three-eyed divine monkey, right?" Ghost Lee said, "I adopted this monkey when I was young. I called it Xiao Hui." The nine-tailed celestial fox, who was also the gentle and lovely lady called Xiao by now, was astonished and then laughed. She stretched her hand to carry Xiao Hui up, assessed it, her eyes full of smiles, said, "Hee hee, we indeed have affinity. you are called Xiao Hui. I'm called Xiao Bai. Xiao Hui in her embrace grinned. Gigi laughed, placing its monkey hands on her shoulders, looking very intimate. Ghostly stood aside, saw the scene there, for a moment could not say anything. After a while, he shook his head in the dark and quietly walked away. The next day, the sky slowly lightened up. Just that the southern border sun still had not revealed itself, the sky was dim, full of dark clouds. It was a cloudy day. But there was still enough sunlight, and it did not feel suffocating. Occasionally a slight breeze would blow, brushing past the body, without that heat from yesterday, boosting one's mood up. The icy cold feeling flowed around in the human body. The inferno mirror on his chest also emitted a gentle warmth. The two extreme energies existed at the same time in his body. Right now, all seemed to be quiet too, coexisting in peace. Ghostly slowly opened his eyes, made a wry laugh. In fact, nobody knew it better than himself about his body condition. Yesterday night those words that Xiao Bai, also the nine-tailed celestial fox, said about his body, were all proven during that fight with the fire beast when his body had suddenly collapsed. Even he himself did not know, how long could his body hold up. He lowered his head, watched that black fire stick quietly lying beside his hand. For so many years, it had always silently accompanying him. He suddenly smiled, grabbed the fire stick tightly, like, connected by blood. As long as Bai Yao could be saved, the rest, what did it matter? Suddenly, a wind movement was heard above this small mountain, coming in from afar in the sky. A human figure flew down. Ghostly frowned, stood up and looked up, his eyes cold. After a moment, that figure landed, lights flashed and gradually faded, revealing a yellow figure. Jin Pinger. Ghostly's eyes stared, his heart feeling shocked. He concealed at this small mountain summit, but this Jin Pinger could actually still find him. It was really unbelievable, unless she had been secretly following him and even he himself also did not detect it. Jin Pinger, still carrying that familiar smile, said, Gongzi, you have indeed found a good place to hide. Ghostly snorted, suddenly said, Ms. Jin is the one with good skills, really awesome. Instead it was the nine-tailed celestial fox, who glanced at Ghostly and again at Jin Pinger, who was standing opposite, suddenly laughed loudly and said, This lady, you have misunderstood. Actually it was because this humble girl had met with robbers last night, and was almost robbed of my chastity. Luckily this ghostly Gongzi happened to pass by and helped me. I could then fortunately escape. As for the clothing on me, it was also Gongzi who temporarily lent it to me for cover. Jin Pinger turned and looked at Xiao Bai, with her experienced eyesight. How could she believe those words? And looking at Xiao Bai who was smiling delicately, how would she look like someone who was threatened by robbers yesterday? With Jin Pinger's glance, if there were bandits, who ignorantly, met this girl, most likely, Jin Pinger shook her head, and could not be bothered to think about this matter, just that Xiao Bai's beauty was comparable to her. She could not help, but take more glances and then turned to speak to Ghostly. Gongzi last night at Fenxiong Valley. Did you discover anything? Ghostly indifferently said, Nothing. Last night, after arriving at the valley, I only encountered the volcano eruption and thus withdrew. He paused slightly and looked at Jin Pinger. You went to the hubbub at the valley entrance. What happened there? The relationship between that human fish and Fenxiong Valley master. Did you have any discovery? Jin Pinger smiled, her expression composed, shook her head, sighed and said, It was really unfortunate. I also did not have any discovery. Yesterday night the hubbub at Fenxiong Valley entrance was created by fights among their own disciples. As for that human fish, it is really a hopeless muddle. Ghostly frowned, for a moment was silent. Jin Pinger was quiet for a while and then again turned to glance at Xiao Bai a few more times and then revealed a smile. Turned and spoke to Ghostly. Since Gongzi has a beauty for company, I will not stay here and be an eyesore. Let's separate here. Maybe not long after if I have a firmity with Gongzi, maybe in this southern border we will meet again. She turned to smile at Xiao Bai, flung her sleeve. A flash of light and transformed into a stream of yellow light figure, flew up into the air. Ghostly looked at the figure diminishing over the horizon, frowned. Xiao Bai walked to him. Xiao Hui jumped up with 2, 3 leaps. Although it was just one night, Xiao Hui seemed to be very close with this Xiao Bai lady. Xiao Bai gently hugged Xiao Hui. After staying silent for a while, spoke to Ghostly. Have you ever told her that we will be here? Ghostly shook his head in silence. After a long while said, This is something I cannot not figure out. How powerful is this girl that she will know our movements? But I have checked my entire body, and still did not find anything suspicious. Xiao Bai looked around, appraised Ghostly and then looked at Xiao Hui. She smiled and said, With your skills, that girl even if she wanted to leave any slightest trace on your body, I'm afraid it would also be difficult. The problem is not with you. Ghostly turned his head, hesitated for a moment, said, So, from Senior Miss Xiaobai's words, you seem to know something. Xiaobai used her hand and gently smoothed Xiao Hui's head, smiled and said, Xiao Hui must have never bathed. So the problem should be on Xiao Hui's body. At the foot of the small mountain, Ghostly and Xiaobao found a small clear brook and gave Xiao Hui a bath. Xiao Hui, from the time it was born, never had a bathing experience, naturally was 100 times unwilling and struggled with its might, called out incessantly. Ghostly was shocked, turned over and saw Xiao Hui, after bathing, jumped onto the banks, and without waiting for Xiaobai's checks, shook its entire body and immediately caused the water droplets on its furs to spray out in all directions. Xiaobai could not avoid in time, scolded while laughing. Her body had already been sprayed with much water droplets from this drizzle that appeared out of the sky. Ghostly's lips moved, involuntarily also laughed. Then he turned his head around. Sounds of Xiaobai still scolding and laughing at Xiao Hui could still be heard. In this dim sky, suddenly there was a warmth not seen for ages, quietly brewing. The night of the volcano eruption in Fenxiong Valley Inferno Altar, the heaven and earth countenance changed, its might extremely powerful. Although it already could not be seen in the vicinity of 100 miles, but an extremely big piece of cloud hung above Fenxiong Valley, a crimson-yellow color, extremely abnormal. This degree of phenomenal change was already conspicuous, and now that it happened in the low-profile mysterious Fenxiong Valley, with Fenxiong Valley status in the good faction cultivators, it attracted even more attention from the world and immediately rumors circulated, all speculating what exactly happened in Fenxiong Valley. Just within several days, in the peaceful southern border wildlands, many unfamiliar faces started to gather, numerous either openly, or discreetly power factions, in the open, or dark inquiring what had indeed happened. This kind of situation, naturally was not something that Fenxiong Valley wanted, on the contrary, because of some undisclosed secret, Fenxiong Valley sect was extremely indignant over it. On one hand, Fenxiong Valley was cordial to the disciples sent by various powerful sects in the good faction, like Qingyun sect, Qianyin Temple etc. faction, to inquire, hosting them with good tea or water, using natural catastrophe as a perfunctory explanation. On the other hand, secret inquiries made by the three great evil sects, Fenxiong Valley would never be merciful in their turf. Momentarily in the vast expanse of southern border lands with Fenxiong Valley as the core, glints of swords and shadows frequently flashed. Just that no matter whether the good faction, or the evil sect, all sensed that under the mysterious atmosphere of the Fenxiong Valley, indistinctly revealed an abnormality. This time Fenxiong Valley seemed to receive an extremely big shock. The valley disciples almost were all mobilized, day and night unceasingly searching in different parts of the southern border. As for searching for who and what, they avoided and covered up, keeping it a secret. Several days later, the hazy southern border sky became a much bustling place. Dazzling beautiful light beams could be seen flashing in the sky frequently. They were all Fenxiong Valley outstanding disciples whom were pursuing onto something. Rumors also began to spread. Birth of some strange beast, or mysterious rare treasure bursting into the sky from the volcano eruption, different kinds of rumors, numerous. And even more ridiculous, was that some even vividly spread rumors about internal disorder within Fenxiong Valley, and some disciples had betrayed and killed the Valley Master, Yun Yilan. And to further corroborate it, Fenxiong Valley Master Yun Yilan really did not appear for several days, until the rumors began to turn into a frenzy, and in the days that followed, alarmed Qingyun sect Reverend Dao Xian, and Qianyin Temple Pu Hong Master. Both of them sent out disciples together to hurry over to Fenxiong Valley to inquire, and Fenxiong Valley did not know whether to laugh or cry, explained that the Valley Master was in seclusion, and was unable to make an appearance. Once the verified news were relayed, Qingyun sect and Qianyin Temple then felt relieved, but these two great sects leaders were not simple people. How would they not detect that there must be something odd in all of these, and therefore secretly ordered their disciples not to hurry back, and instead secretly investigate? Often reiterating on the chaos in the world, rogues of all kinds running wild, Fenxiong Valley at the same time had always remained mysterious and equivocal. During the Qingyun battle, they happened to excuse themselves, and that led one to make conjectures, hence the action of ghostly unintentionally rescuing the nine-tailed celestial fox, who was incarcerated for 300 years, triggered the world's powers' covert struggles, the stormy gathering of the southern border. Because Fenxiong Valley sent out numerous disciples, making trips, tracking and interrogating, with Ghostly and Xiaobai's cultivated skills, naturally they did not fear these disciples, but the thought of the possibility of revealing their tracks and incurring countless troubles, and if the Fenxiong Valley powerful figures were to be alerted and come in force, then they might not be able to fight them off. After all, Fenxiong Valley was a 1,000-year great sect with unfathomable depth of power. Because they had to avoid detection by Fenxiong Valley, they were unable to travel by air, although Ghostly was anxious, but after being advised by Xiao Bai, who said that since he could wait for 10 years, how could it be at the critical moment, he could not even wait for a few more days. If for a moment of anxiousness and aroused Fenxiong Valley pursuing men, most likely when the situation became chaotic, instead by then he would not be able to know how long more he had to wait. Although Ghostly was impatient, but he could not agree with what Xiao Bai said. Both of them unhurriedly traveled, wearing southern borders attire. While traveling, they met a few batches of Fenxiong Valley disciples, but were not recognized by them, at most because Xiao Hui looked unusual and attracted a few more glances. The most important point was that at that night, Ghostly and Xiao Hui never once revealed themselves. Therefore Fenxiong Valley men did not know how they look like and could only question suspicious strangers, which instead missed them out. Right now Ghostly and Xiao Bai were already on an ancient pathway 300 miles away from Fenxiong Valley. It was in the open wild lands, and not a human in sight. Just an hour ago, they had walked confidently past a group of Fenxiong Valley disciples. The hazy sky, dark clouds moving slightly, with a slight frown while walking ahead, contrasting him. Xiao Bai perpetually had a smile on her face, in good spirits, and peering around while traveling, gazing into the southern border scenery. Even though it was a desolated wild ancient path, in her eyes, it seemed to also be the most beautiful sight. Ghostly glanced sideways. The monkey Xiao Hui sat on Xiao Bai's shoulder, composed. Maybe because they were both rare intelligent spiritual animals on Earth, Xiao Hui was very close to the nine-tailed celestial fox transformed Xiao Bai. The past few days it had spent more time with Xiao Bai. Watching Xiao Hui and Xiao Bai laughing and playing at times, making delightful expressions, Ghostly suddenly recalled, if his old friend Zheng Shushu from Qingyun's sect saw that, most likely he would be very envious. Xiao Bai was wearing the common clothes of the southern border girls, the design nothing different from the styles of the common people, just that this common clothing, against her unmatched beauty, instantly like radiating light and heat, revealed even more of her unseen svelte figure, as if this girl was born to fit into these clothes, exuding the southern border women unique graceful bearing from head to top. Xiao Bai noticed Ghostly's look, turned and smiled, said, "What is it, me wearing these clothes, does it still look nice?" Ghostly smiled faintly. With his character, naturally he would not wish to answer these type of flippant questions, so he changed the topic and said, "Seems like you are quite familiar with the southern border's custom and surroundings, not to mention the others, just this ancient and secluded small village deep inside the Fenxiong Valley vicinity mountains, and you can actually find it, unless you came here before." Xiao Bai, without waiting for his sentence to complete, immediately shook her head and said, "This you can be assured. Our Fox Spirit clan has been neighbors with Ghost King sect for several hundred years and always coexisted in harmony. Not even that, these several hundred years, there were also a few human and spirits relationships. So therefore, other than repaying you for rescuing me out from the Inferno altar, after knowing you are Ghost King sect disciple, that is also one of the reasons why I am helping you." Ghostly then felt relieved and then thought of something, said, "Then after this affair, will you still be going back to Majestic Fox Mountain to visit your clan members?" Xiao Bai's face slowly turned downcast, raised her head and looked at the sky. After a while, softly said, "My clan members were all dead because of me." Ghostly was again stunned. Xiao Bai gave a bitter laugh, her expression getting more melancholy, but also did not wish to continue on. Ghostly was quiet for a while, avoided the topic and said, "We have already been walking for 3 days. How long more to the 7-mile cave that you said?" Xiao Bai glanced at him, her gaze like water swept past his face, said, 7-Mile Cave is the southern border Miao tribe's largest inhabitation. According to my memory, 20 miles from here is a bustling place where different tribes cohabitate, called Qianshui Stockade. From their perilous narrow path to the south leads towards the Miao people's 7-Mile Cave. Then she gave a soft wry laugh, said, "But I do not know, for the past 300 years, whether there are any changes in the southern border situation." Ghostly silently nodded, subconsciously quickened his steps. Xiao Bai followed behind him, her eyes lingering on him for a while, then looking ahead again, the stretch of mountain veins linking together, towering aloft, majestic and precipitous, like a giant human, watching between the heaven and earth, on the ancient path, these few tiny humans. Ghostly in these 10 years, came numerous times to the southern border for Bai Yao, more or less knew a few things about the local people here. The southern border was a vast territory, a vast but sparsely populated, other than the barbaric tribes in the extreme south, 10,000 great mountains stretching continuously for thousands of miles. The generations of people living on the southern border fringe mostly consisted of 5 main tribes, namely Miao, Tu, Zhuang, Li, Jiao Shan. Ordering by population, Zhuang tribe had the most and made up almost 40% of the total southern border population. Going by territory, Miao tribe was the most powerful. The land that they occupied was the largest and most fertile. comparing folkways, the least populated Gao Shan tribe was the most agile and brave. These 5 big tribes lived at the southern border fringe for generations and generations. Each of the tribes had their own language, but on the whole, they used a language similar to Central Plains when communicating between tribes. Just that more or less it contained the ethnic tribe's characteristics. For so many years, naturally there were times where they communicated and held each other hands with delight, but there was no lack of scheming, contention and conflicts among them. Over a long time, gradually the tribes occupied their own area, but there were also situations where territories interlaced and resulted in fights. And where each tribe's lands met each other, there would be villages, towns, stockade where several tribes' people cohabitated. The maximum would even contain people from the 5 tribes residing together. And the Qianshui stockade that Xiaobai mentioned was where Miao, Zhuang, Tu and Gao Shan tribes bordered on. It was also on the southern border fringe, and quite a well-known bustling place. The sky slowly got dark. When it was nearing evening time, Ghostly, Xiaobai, Xiaohui, 2 humans and 1 monkey finally walked into Qianshui stockade. The sky had just turned dim, the streets were still crowded with people, traveling to and fro. A hubbub of voices, at times different tribes' languages, could be heard loudly, very much different from the deserted ancient path that they had came on. Xiaohui sitting on Xiaobai's shoulder felt very intrigued, its monkey head turning left and right, peering everywhere, calling unceasingly. The 3-eyed monkey was after all unusual and very soon attracted the stares of the people on the streets, and a few children wearing southern border tribes apparel even followed behind them merrily, sparing no effort in making funny faces at Xiaohui, teasing it. Xiaohui was by nature mischievous and immediately got excited. Its tail swished to and fro and looked as if it was about to jump down and play too. Luckily Ghostly humphed once, pulled it over with one swing of his arm and held it in his hands. Xiaohui, helpless and knew it would not be able to run off, climbed up to Ghostly's shoulder, making "Gigi" noises at the children behind and also imitating their funny faces. The children were even more excited, jabbering and laughing loudly. Looked like they felt very intrigued too. Ghostly frowned, felt slightly peeved, but not because Xiaohui was playful, but because he had other concerns. He turned his head and looked slightly to the side. Xiaobai's lips had a faint smile, and was happily watching those children and Xiaohui laughing and frolicking. The coarse fabric garment, how could it conceal her skin-deep lovable beauty? Not to say at this southern border fringe, the severe wind and snow, most of the women looked ordinary, their skin dark, even at the Central Plains, with this several thousand years of cultivation transformed into human. Xiaobai, the lovely and gentle demeanor indistinctly giving off underneath that exquisite elegant appearance. Every frown and every smile invariably made one experience a feeling of being drunk. And as expected, after a moment, in the hubbub of children's laughter and jesting, more and more people looked over and those adults' stares, very naturally and very quickly, from the monkey shifted to that lady whose beauty was unable to be concealed by the coarse garment. Immediately, as if an invisible sound wave extending out, the crowd felt astonished by the sight, and that lady under the numerous stares seemed not to have any slightest embarrassment, looking at her slight smile, as if she liked that kind of feeling. Ghostly felt very vexed, with that kind of attention. It was definitely not his intention, and was just thinking if he should remind this lady beside him to quickly find a place to stay, and get up early in the morning the next day, and head for that 7-mile cave, which was then the important matter to do. Just that, as if his intention was destined not to be realized, a character that definitely always appeared in the innumerable stories around the world, right now had shown up. The hooligan in the folktales, at this southern border fringe, in the sparsely populated tribes, actually also existed. 3 men walked out from the crowd, almost looking similar, tall, burly, with tiger-like back and bear-like waist, speaking half unfamiliar language mixed with the locals' unique slang, started to take liberties with Xiaobai. Hooligan A, oh, this woman is really beautiful. Xiaobai smiled sweetly, her hand gently brushed past her face, with unspeakable loveliness, said, is it? In that instant, the crowd was in an uproar. The 3 hooligans were extremely delighted. Hooligan B opened his shirt, revealing his good spirits. Little sister, follow me. I will let you eat something hot, and drink something nice. The onlookers crowding around immediately laughed out loud. Xiaobai glanced at Ghostly beside her, her face still smiling. Hooligan C mocked Hooligan B, do you even know what is to eat spicy and drink something nice? That is called eat tasty and drink spicy. After speaking, he turned to Xiaobai, little sister, my family has good farmlands and 10,000 fields. If you follow me, guarantee you. Speaking halfway, he was unable to continue. Xiaobai smiled even more sweetly, as if the tenderness was emanating straight from her heart, a pair of moving eyes like water, as if about to spill out. Just that her body instead stepped back and stood beside Ghostly, gently said, I am already someone with a husband. The onlookers, again another commotion. Xiao Hui, who was on Ghost Li's shoulder, soothed a sound, dropped down from Ghost Li's shoulder and landed on the ground. After a moment, for some reason, Xiao Hui actually lay on the ground, using its monkey hands to pound on the ground intensely, grinning, and Gigi laughing out loud. Ghost Li's face was somber, silently stood there, felt the three hooligans in front of him, 6 pairs of vicious eyes, filled with enmity at him. After a moment, the hooligans charged over. Seemed like the southern border proverb, wife from fists, was still full of vitality, after thousands and hundreds of years, serving the southern border people. The southern border flavor was greatly different from Central Plains, just that as the years went, although the place was remote, but it still had tradings with the Central Plains. And the local produced fur, or etc., had good reputations in Central Plains and attracted quite a number of Central Plains merchants to come forward to trade. And as time went by, the southern border, which did not have any inn, under the influence of the Central Plains merchants, inns appeared in some of the most bustling cities and towns. The place where Ghost Li and Xiao Bai were now, was such an inn, its name directly taken from the place and named Tianshui Inn. Walking into the inn, very evidently the tables and chairs decorations were influenced by Central Plains culture, but the innkeeper and waiters were all local Zhuang tribe people. Zhuang tribe in the southern border had the biggest population, and in relative, their people were better off and were most influenced by the Central Plains, unlike the other tribes, which still insisted on hunting as their main way of life. Zhuang tribe had already gradually started to farm and trade. But it was also because of that, Zhuang tribe's trait was more placid. Most of the tribe people did not have that intrepid characteristic, so they were not as powerful as the Miao tribe, which had a smaller population than them. Ghost Li and Xiao Bai sat down. A waiter was already coming over to serve them. By now the sky had turned dim, but there was not many customers in the inn. The waiter's appearance and clothes looked to be from Zhuang tribe, but most likely he had worked here for quite a while. His language was rather fluent. 2 customers, will you like to eat something? Our inn still have clean rooms. Our prices are the most reasonable, well known near and far. Ghost Li nodded, said, give us 2 clean rooms, we are staying 1 night. The waiter smiled and nodded, then said, 2 customers most probably have not eaten right. Do you want to order some rice and dishes? Ghost Li was not hungry, but glanced at Xiao Bai, decided he should order some food, spoke, give us 2 bowls of rice and also a few, hm. Xiao Bai suddenly exclaimed, a smile on her face, said, do you have earth-stuffed siskin here? Ghost Li was surprised, looked at Xiao Bai, that waiter was also stunned, took another glance at Xiao Bai, said, Miss, can it be that you have visited southern border before? This signature dish, naturally we have it. Xiao Bai's smile deepened, her eyes gleamed, as if reminiscing something, slowly said, oh, right, also 3 parts snake intestines, roasted bear's tail, roasted autumn leaf, 5 little worms, black heart fruit. Her eyes sparkled. Speaking while thinking, initially her speed was still slow, naming the dishes by dishes, however her speed increased towards the end. The names of the dishes were also very bizarre, unbelievable upon hearing it, definitely not what Central Plains would have. Ghost Li was dumbfounded and in the inn, other than the waiter whose smile had turned into a gaping awkward mouth, even the innkeeper, who was tabulating the accounts, at a distance also came over. After Xiao Bai had named nearly 30 dishes in one breath, she then stopped to take a breath, turned and smiled to the innkeeper and waiter, those dishes, do you have it here? The innkeeper and waiter looked at each other. After a while the innkeeper gave a dry laugh and said, Miss, you are really knowledgeable. Those dishes that you have said just now, not one of them are not southern border famous dishes. However, many of their ingredients are not easy to find, other than the earth-stuffed siskin. Mine can only make black heart fruit and roasted bear's tail. I'm very sorry. Xiao Bai's face revealed her disappointment, but she smiled and then said, all right then, just make those 3 dishes first. The innkeeper and the waiter hurriedly acknowledged and went off. Xiao Bai turned around and saw Ghost Li looking at herself. She smiled sweetly and said, a few hundred years already. I do not know why to suddenly feel like trying the local flavors of those times. You came here before. Have you ever tried those dishes? The late quiet night, Tianshui stockade, which had been bustling with people for the whole day, gradually quietened down when it was nightfall. Tianshui Inn had a total of 2 stories. The second story housed the guest rooms. Ghost Li observed carefully. Only Xiao Bai and him were staying in the inn this night. Although it seemed lively here, but in this season, the world, disorder in succession, not many Central Plains merchants came to southern border. And the southern border locals, most of them would not stay in inns. Xiao Bai's room was just beside Ghost Li, separated by wooden boards. It did not offer much soundproof, indistinctly light laughters, and zhi sounds could be heard from the other room. The monkey Xiao Hui had again ran over to Xiao Bai's room to play, although Xiao Hui still sleep with Ghost Li every night, but Xiao Bai for some reasons, was especially close to Xiao Hui, and now Xiao Hui loved to stick close to this 1,000-year-old fox spirit. Ghost Li lay down in his room for a while. He had not stayed in an inn for a long time and was not used to it. Unknowingly after a long time, it was already late in the night, but he was still not sleepy, feeling somehow vexed. He stood up and slowly walked to the window, opened it and looked out. Different from the day, in the southern border night sky, dark clouds slowly dispersing, but the layers of clouds were still there, faint moonlight unveiled from the gaps. The clear moonlight, like frost like snow, quietly shone down onto his body. The vast world was in deep slumber, the surroundings were quiet with no human sounds. Only from an unknown street corner, low insect cries could be heard, the sounds mournful. Blackness enveloped the earth. Through the window, gazing afar, thousands of mountains and miles, the night sky still. Under such desolate, lonely night sky of the southern border, suddenly, the past like surging waves, rose up into his heart. Not long before, that child in the remote village, embroiled in the seething, turbulent waves of the worldly affairs, drifting along with the waves. Occasionally looking back, that actually, he had nobody by his side. Life was really lonely. The man under the moon, his head bowed and silent. A sound pierced through the sky in the far distance, faintly traveling over. Ghost Li raised his head, frowning, a slight flare in the horizon, like a meteor traveling across the night sky, streaked through the horizon, past the Tianshui stockade, landing in the west. And behind it, there were 3 more lights, pursuing closely. The sky now, again cleared up a few degrees, the layers of clouds gradually dispersed, the moonlight gradually became brighter, turning this derelict stronghold a few degrees brighter. Jin Pinger's face still had her unchanging smile, smiling winsomely, and stood in the middle of the street. Facing her was a young man, with an angry expression. This person was also someone Ghost Li knew, Fenxiong Valley talented disciple Li Zun. And behind him on the street, there was another Fenxiong Valley disciple lying on the ground, most likely was injured by Jin Pinger. On his clothes starting from the left chest, had a deep big gash slashed down, and was weakly moaning. Just that, Ghost Li's gaze, just swept through the 3 people, and after a moment, his eyes stopped completely on the last person. The bleak clear night, the desolate street, behind Jin Pinger a remnant of a small derelict building, a woman in white, carrying a long sword on her back, stood on the rooftop, facing the wind, her clothes fluttering. Her skin like snow under the moonlight, made one felt that she was a very beautiful woman with a pale complexion. This night, this moonlight, were actually this beautiful and bright because of her. Lu Shueqi, Tihi familiar eyes, whose figure was it reflecting? Ghost Li stared blankly. In the dark, he quietly watched the girl who seemed to have appeared from out of this world. The entire world's frost and wind, 10 years of time, seemed not to have touched her at all. Therefore when one looked over, the first glance, was that she in the moonlight with that cold and clear like fairy figure, evil woman. Li Zun's handsome face was full of fury. He and Lu Shueqi, one at the front and one behind, blocked Jin Pinger, but when they landed just now, the evil sect demonic woman suddenly launched an attack, first bewitching his Fenxiong Valley junior brother behind him with heart delusion skill, then injuring him with the purple light sword. If not for Li Zun who intervened in time, most likely this junior brother would have lost his life. Just that Li Zun right now was more concerned. Other than this junior brother's injury, there were still other matters. What exactly did you do to my junior sister, Yan Hong? Quickly hand her over. Jin Pinger smiled, her eyes suddenly in doubt, looked towards the darkness behind Li Zun, either with intention or unintentionally, sneaked a glance at where Ghost Li was hiding, said, "You just said it. That is your junior sister and not my junior sister. How will I know, Pei?" Li Zun's expression was enraged. Evidently he cared a lot for this junior sister, angrily said, "If not for Shangguan teacher uncle's discerning eyes and discovered it, we would still be in the dark. You deliberately killed our Fenxiong Valley disciple, we must settle this score with you. If you are smart, better hand over Yan Hong junior sister early." Ayo. I am so afraid. Jin Pinger patted her chest with her hand, but a smile was still on her face, not a trace of fear. Instead her coquettishness increased. She softly said, "All of you are still considered good faction people. How can so many of you bully me, this one weak girl?" A cold snort was instead heard from Lu Shueqi behind. Li Zun glanced at that beautiful figure standing high up, his face solemn, spoke to Jin Pinger, "Evil woman, if you still stubborn, I will not be courteous." An already word had not even spoken out. Jin Pinger suddenly smiled sweetly, purple light suddenly lighted up in her right-hand sleeve. Li Zun immediately concentrated and prepared. This evil woman was full of tricks, and her magical weapon was extremely sharp. It was indeed not a trivial object. With that strike earlier, although his junior brother behind him was under the influence of the delusion heart skill, but the years of training was still not her equal. It could be seen her skills were very good. Just that Li Zun had always been conceited, his skills were high and although wary, but did not have any slightest nervousness. And now that there was a beautiful woman coldly watching, ever since he had saw her 10 years ago, he had admired her for a long time and definitely would not lose his face in front of this beautiful woman. As he was concentrating to fight, unexpectedly the tricky Jin Pinger made another false move. Suddenly her figure transformed into a purple light, together with her sword, went to attack Lu Xueqi behind. In a blink of an eye the purple light was nearing. Lu Xueqi's face was as white as frost. Zheng, the sharp sound, multifarious celestial energy, blue light shone out in all directions. Qian Huai's celestial sword suddenly drawn out, horizontal before her. Li Zun saw it from behind, felt an unknown anxiousness, wielded his sword and pursued after. Unexpectedly when Jin Pinger's purple light sword met Qian Huai, she took the opportunity to retreat. Quick as a lightning she turned back. Li Zun was shocked, but for the moment, could not stop his body in time to pursue back, and when Lu Xueqi was about to follow, she was instead blocked by Li Zun, and had no choice but to suppress her action. In the darkness, that person snorted. The disdain intention was very obvious and his body moved, evidently did not wish to be embroiled in this matter. Unexpectedly in this flint spark moment, Jin Pinger suddenly quickly said 3 words out loudly, 7 Mile Cave. These 3 words, like a flash of lightning, forced Ghost Li, who was about to take off, to stop. Jin Pinger's face was full of mysterious smile, in an instant brushed past his body. And after a moment, Lu Xueqi's white figure, approaching, just in front of him. Who knew, in that instant, whose figure flashed past the mind? The dark green light lighted up. Lu Xueqi's icy cold face in that instant changed, uncertainty, perplexion, joy and anger. Qiong Tian Huai and soul-absorbing, blue light with red light, reflecting each other in the night, reverberated far away. Li Zun brushed past Lu Xueqi, continued to pursue Jin Pinger. After all, Jin Pinger was the more important figure, especially after she had killed his junior brother, who had came with him together. Just that while he was in the air, he secretly turned his head back, watching the man and the woman silently facing each other in the derelict street. The flame which flashed in the depths of his eyes was actually that red-hot blazing. Far away, Jin Pinger's laughter could be heard, that voice lovely and mocking. Ghost Li heard it and was silent. The moonlight like water shone on this desolate mountain, lonely streets. The woman before him, the white clothes like snow, the long sword in her hand, bright like autumn waters. Even Mile Cave, the largest inhabitation of the Miao tribe in history, it got famous because it was said to be as wide as 7 Mile. Unable to trace when it developed, it was besieged and annihilated during late Yuan and early Ming dynasty. It was said that the place was easy to defend and hard to attack. Only a narrow path connected it to the outside world and had always been the spiritual prop of the Miao tribe. Now that the exact location was unable to be studied and verified, but after researching the materials, it seemed in 1983 Guangxi Heiyang County Heiyang discovered a large leveled village. The surrounding descriptions were similar and led by Miao tribe. In the nearby mountaintop there was a dog deity cave. In it there was an enormous stone dog deity idol that the Miao tribe worshipped. Suspected the place should be there. Another note, dog deity, in the Miao tribe legend, troops suddenly entered in the dead of the night. All of the Miao tribe people were asleep. A stone dog on top of the mountain suddenly started barking loudly, awaking the tribe and then combined forces to resist the enemies, saving the entire tribe. Since then they enshrined and worshipped the dog deity, year after year unceasingly burning joss sticks and candles. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.